Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Today is March the 31st, 1443 on the ancient moon calendar, 1442 on the ancient sun calendar, 2022 on the Greco-Roman calendar, 5782 on the ancient Hebrew calendar. And then each one of us has a sovereign calendar within us, according to our birth chart. So it is that time too, because this is our time. Islam. So the first thing, all rise and stand. This is a sovereign living ancient Al-Moroccan Moorish American court action and congressional session. I am sovereign living justice, Pauline Denise Ritchie and Capitis Diminutia Nolo in red ink, in Popia Persona Juris, in Popia Solo, and in Popia Heredes. Our free chosen sovereign appellations are in Capitis Diminutia Nolo in red ink, in Popia Persona Juris, in Popia Solo, and in Popia Heredes. My free chosen appellation is like to jure in Capitis Diminutia Nolo in red ink, in Popia Persona Juris, in Popia Solo, and in Popia Heredes. All Moors are the original indigenous sovereign ancient Al-Moroccan Moorish American ascendants of the great pharaohs of Kemet and of the ancient Moabites and Canaanites. Our full faith, trust, our allegiance, our credit, and our energy are hereby vested in ourselves, for we are the people who are the original indigenous, natural, divine, ancient empire state of Morocco, and the de jure Moorish National Republic federal government, the Universal Moorish American Consulate, and the Article 3 Moorish American Consular Court. We are peace. We are one nation, one state, one empire, and one God. We hereby exercise all sovereign rights at this time and at all points in time. So we have been speaking recently about putting the state land constitutions on the public record, and we're encouraging all Moors to please, please, please look, go online, pull up the state constitution for it can be the corporate state or it can be the republic. Either one is fine. Pull them up, put them in blue ink, put them on government letterhead, go through them, and remove any feudal language such as state of this and state of that, especially when the word state is in has a capital S, or any of the words are all capitalized. Remove them and put, for example, if you're in Washington Territory, and the corporates were calling it State of Washington, we don't put State of Washington, we just put Washington. Or we'll just put Georgia or just New Jersey, etc. So let me show you why this is so important. I was doing some study and I came across some information, and I was texting one of the empresses about the information that I saw. I was watching a video of someone who was talking about a dream they had. Yes, in the chat, it just says Georgia. You don't even have to say Republic. You can say just Georgia, because Georgia is the name of the land. Republic is a description. That's kind of like a description, okay? But we just say the land, which is Georgia, okay? Or Morocco. Well, Morocco is overarching, and all of these that we're doing are under that empire, okay? And so as I was watching this video, I just so happened to glance down in the comments, and I came across a comment, and a lot of times when we're online, this is how the ancestors will continue to show us things and point right back to the law. when we're doing our research. And it seems like, and I hadn't gone out there specifically to go deep into research. I just went out there to look and see what was out there. And whenever we do that, the ancestors always point us to something and say, this is why you're doing this, and this is the law behind that. So I looked in the comments and I saw this comment, because again, the question is, why are we placing these state land constitutions on the public record? I saw someone comment and say, North Dakota legislation officials have already started the process of scrutinizing all executive orders against the Constitution with the intention of legally nullifying them at the state level. And I thought, whoa. I know what that means. What it's saying is that North Dakota, and again, whoever this is, they are aware that it's not anything about State of North Dakota Corporation, just based on the capitalization and the non-capitalization that he used. So again, they know about capitalism. They know that State of North Dakota is different from just North Dakota. But I said that all of that to say that they are preparing for us to do what we're doing now. So any executive orders that were theatrically issued by the actors doing that were previously doing business as presidents, that were against the state constitution, they're nullifying them. In other words, they're rolling back all of that corporate stuff in preparation and clearing the way for us to come through. Prepare ye the way for the coming of the Lord. That's what they're doing, because that's actually what Christians do. That's the real, when you talk about Knights Templar and all of this stuff, they know their job. And their job is to make sure that the way is prepared as we come through and return everything back to the state that it should be in. So then I looked at that and I thought, well, I'm going to share this with one of the empresses. I shared it with her, and she immediately went out online and found an article talking about this. North Dakota legislation officials, supposedly legally nullifying executive orders that are against the state constitution. And so the link that she sent me, I'm so grateful for her, because she's going through and putting she's doing constitution after constitution after constitution as she comes across them for the different territories, because she knows there are no boundaries when it comes to this vast state, but we're claiming everything lawfully, and this is why. I went to the story that she sent about this nullification process that they're acting out. And when I went to, just one moment, there's a little bit of noise coming from somewhere, and I'm not sure where it's coming from. So I'm going to mute the lines that are coming up on the sound meter. I'm not sure where it's coming from. Just one moment. Let me make sure that you can see. Okay, yeah. So these constitutions, the nullification process is, it says House Bill 1164, and that's North Dakota, that EOs, which is executive orders relating to the following issues, are slated for nullification. In other words, they're rolling back any corporate claims to be able to do the following, to govern pandemics or other health emergencies. They're rolling back the corporate ability with the state to regulate natural resources, including coal and oil. They're also nullifying any corporate claims to be able to regulate agricultural industry, the use of land, the regulation of the financial sector as it relates to environmental, social, and governance standards, and the regulation of the constitutional right to keep and bear arms, among other things. And then they went on to talk about the Keystone Pipeline and all of that stuff, because that goes through several of our territories, But it is a resource of the Moors. So in putting these constitutions on the public record at the territory heirs, it is making it so that we have the authority, and we've always had it, but these steps had to be taken in order for the corporates to move out of the way, because they were not going to move out of the way, even though they know we're the heirs, until we prove competence at knowing which mechanism governs, or not governs because we govern everything, but which mechanism controls certain resources on the land. So I'll say this, think about it as you or there being in the background somewhere, because we've heard this analogy of a puppet master pulling the strings and making things happen on a particular level. Well, the puppet master didn't even have the authority to do any of that, pulling those strings and making all this stuff happen, supposedly, that we have been viewing and observing in the theater here. The constitutions, the state constitutions, and this is why this is important to have layers of constitution, because we even have an inner constitution within us. That's actually the most powerful constitution ever. But the layers, having the layers of constitutions in place gives you dominion, gives us dominion over the different layers and dimensions, because there are levels and dimensions to this, to governing. Land and resources and the air and the wind and the water and the elements. There's levels to it. And it's like peeling back an onion. And as you peel back one layer, another layer appears, and you peel that one back too. And some don't want to take the time to do this, but that's what's been holding us back in terms of us getting our freedom and then taking complete control of this vast estate, is we have not been wanting to do this work. The first work that's most important is clearing our spiritual energy so that there's no anger, there's no bitterness, there's no nothing towards those corporates. Because it was just very simple and easy for us to wake up and speak the word and they would move out of the way. But one thing that is not going to happen is that the estate be left uncovered. And that's why they always talk about them discovering something, like the doctrine of discovery, and then us recovering, reclaiming, reversion of estate. So this is what putting these constitutions on the public record does for us. And again, we have to take the time to do these things, because this is what governing is. Governing is administrative. It's administrative. When we first started doing this work, there were some who were saying, that paper, all you're doing is just throwing around a bunch of paper, but it's the paper that had all the other stuff manifest. Truth.
Brother
Because the paper, Grand Rising, the paper was taken as the law because no one rebutted it. And if no one rebutted it, then they were going to continue moving, and they were going to slap all kinds of crazy paper out there on the public record. And if we had not rebutted it, which we have, then where do the resources come in at? Where does the governing of them come in at? And that's another reason why those who have been on those reservations doing business as Indians could not just start digging up the land and pulling up gold nuggets out of the land, and they couldn't even manage their own water because it's not theirs. Yes, Justice Mitchell, yes, the court is what's on the paper. Yes, it is. Again, everything was done by court action. And that's why what we're doing is so important. That's why it's so important. So then I looked at this and I said, oh, wow, because all kinds of, you know, because when the ancestors first come from within us and say, do this or do that, sometimes, and never have we seen the whole picture. And maybe that's not true. We do see the whole picture. We just, we look at the steps and we say, okay, I know you're going to show me why you're telling me to do it, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to do it. And they always say, go ahead and just move in that direction. Take the steps, and the revelation will come. And sure enough, and you all know this through your own study and experiences with the ancestors within you, is that they'll tell us to do something and we're like, okay. But then it's only after we take the steps that they tell us that we see the magnitude of what we're doing. And so all of this right here, the regulation of natural resources, including coal and oil, if you want to see an oil baron, go look in the mirror. If you want to see a gold or a natural resource tycoon, go look in the mirror. And then go get a constitution and put it on public record. And then if you see any of the other territories next door to yours, if I'm in, you know, like I'm at Washington Territory, but if I don't see Oregon Constitution come through the email sometime soon, then I'll go ahead and do it. If I don't see Idaho and especially Utah and Arizona and all of those, but even where we are right now, each and every one of us is sitting on top of gold mines, water mines, mineral mines. That's why they talk about mineral rights all the time. But they were never going to tell us that by putting we have to do it. By us giving life to the letter, they were never going to tell us that that is how you go about claiming land and claiming domiciles, because they knew that once we actually woke up, that the ancestors would tell us how to do it. So for those, I believe Justice Consul asked last week about domiciles, and I didn't forget that. I didn't forget it. In fact, I never forget the things that are said to me on these calls. It always comes back to me as the ancestors are revealing it. And I'll say this more, the things you say on this call causes the information to come forth, even more so. And that's why it's important to put it on the public record, because our voices and our energy cause the ancestors and the ancestral energies and the universal energies and the law of attraction to kick in and bring that information to us. So when you say it, because this is the year of the voice for us, we need to be heard. And as we're saying things on these calls, the ancestors are saying, oh, they want to see that. They want to know that. Let's show them this. Let's show them that. And so Justice Consul last week asked about domiciles. Well, look, on the screen here, the use of land. And then the financial sector. That has to do with domicile. But And again, we've seen more claiming things, and then policy enforcers showing up, and all of this, that, and the third. I mean, I was speaking to someone recently from one of the nations, and it's a nation that we all know about, and we've all heard about, and many of us have read, about this beautiful, wonderful Moorish nation. It's not even. It's a genuine Moorish nation, and they had a very powerful empress who's transitioned now. But that empress at one point, and I did not know this, but that empress at one point back in, I believe it was the 80s or the 90s maybe, maybe even a little bit thereafter, the Empress had claimed a hotel. And the Secretary of State, the corporate one, it had to be the corporate one, I guess, I don't know. But they did say the Secretary of State gave her the keys to this hotel. But according to the heir that I was speaking with, she didn't get as much support as there could have been. And to me, I just think Moors should have been all over that, really, because Moors need places to, need domiciles and things, and that could have held them over until they got the domicile. And she got the keys to the hotel, and it still had people in there cooking and things. And there was no support. And then at one point, the foreigners, once the hotel didn't work out the way that it was, that our Empress had designed and she had in her heart for it to work out, they leveled it. They bulldozed it. And we never want to see that happen, ever. And it will never happen again. It will never happen again. But we honor the work that she did because she worked so hard. And there are many Moors and Empresses and Emperors who have worked really hard over the years. But, many of us were asleep. I know I was asleep at the time that all of this took place with this beautiful, powerful Empress who even had, she had everything. I'm amazed. I'm just amazed. And so, having said that, hear this on the screen. The use of land. Yeah, we're going to put constitutions on the public record, but they need to originate with us. And again, make no mistake about it, those corporate constitutions, in reading them, the ones that I've been seeing come through, that came from us. Hey, there's nothing new under the sun. That came from us first, and then the corporate took it and capitalized it. And now we're just taking back what's already ours. So then this led me to the Constitution. The ancestors, of course, they're not going to show us things and then not show us where this comes in at. So I was just asking the energies about this whole nullification of executive orders process. Because, I was just thinking, do the states have more power than the federal? And we're both, so it doesn't matter for us. But we want to know. And the ancestors led me straight to Article 3, Section 2, Clause 1 of the Constitution, which tells us that if the states, just a minute, there's a little bit of noise coming from somewhere, so I'm going to mute a couple of these lines here. That if the states have issue with what the one that whoever is in the office for the president, if they have issue, then there's recourse. Okay, there's recourse. The states are under the federal, but there's recourse for them in the Constitution. So I'll go ahead and put the link to the Constitution. It's constitution.congress.gov is the link that I'm putting in the chat for those who may want to look at that and see where, where states can nullify things if they think that it's an overreach. If they think that the one doing this, that is whoever's in that office is overreaching and going outside of of the authority that we said they can do, because again, we wrote the Constitution. Okay. So another thing, I just wanted to bring that forward because again, it's so important that we get these constitutions on the public record, and then please don't forget, put it on the public record. You can put it on social media. You can put it wherever you want to put it where the public can get to it and see it, because that's going to make it an official record. Even, and some people are saying social media is not the public record. Let's prove that it is. Let's prove that it is. We're going to put that to rest because, again, put it to rest because we put it to rest before. But, of course, you know, the ancestors are showing us the different ways and where it's in writing that we have the authority to do all the things we're doing. Because we've had some, you know, some things, you can't do this, you can't do that. Yes, we actually can, and it's the law. So what constitutes an official publication of your lawful record? That's the question. Here, let's bring that up here on the screen. What constitutes official publication of your lawful records? Because some are saying, you know, we've been programmed to think that if we go down to the corporates that were previously doing business as clerk of court and we give them some fiat, that's the only way something is official. It's actually the opposite. We hand it to them or send it to them or mail it to them for notification purposes, but we don't have to use fiat to publish anything. So here's what constitutes an official publication of your lawful record. We went to Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, and this is Rule 44. It says the proving of an official record. What is it that proves that a record is official? Means of proving. It says it right here on the screen. Let me make sure this is big enough for us to see. It says each of the following evidences an official record or an entry in it that is otherwise admissible and is kept within the United States, any state, district, or commonwealth, or any territory subject to the administrative or judicial jurisdiction of the United States. And again, we're the original United States. But for the sake of what proves that something is an official record, we want to bring this forth so that we know that our sovereign records, and it doesn't matter where we put it. If we go down the road and post it on a telegraph pole on the corner of a street in our territory, that's an official record. So even if the internet was to go down, we could still post the law. It says here, an official publication of the record, period. What makes it an official record? An official publication of it. Let's look at B. A copy attested by the officer with legal custody of the record or by the officer's deputy and accompanied by a certificate that the officer has custody. The certificate must be made under seal. So all of the things that you see that are sent in the mail and all of this and that, yes, we are recording. All of the things that we see that are sent, for example, war rants and all of that, none of that stuff is under seal, so it's not even official. So we have to rebut that properly. That's another reason why we won't hesitate to do a court action and put it under seal, because that makes it official. And then we notify. So anybody telling you that your documents are not valid and they have to be this, that, and a third, show them this. An official publication of the record. What constitutes an official publication? Who's the official? The Moors. Who's the real officers? The Moors. And there are no others. Everybody else is a custodian. Everybody else is a custodian. That's why we don't call policy enforcers police officers, because they're not. They are custodians who are subject to the Moors. An official publication of the record, a copy attested by the officer with legal custody of the record. So your affidavits are your attestation. You're the officer with the legal and the lawful custody of the record. And then when you put it in the custody of a custodian, then they are responsible for it because it's under your seal.
Bullshit.
Okay? We got another little, someone who did not care about 6 million Moors being in jail over this time period, who has come in and decided that they are going to attempt to communicate from subject status. So we'll go ahead and put them out. Let's see. Just one moment. Okay, they know to speak quickly and then put it on mute because they will get booted out of here. Let's see. So again, Morris, this is, now some may say, why are we looking at federal rules for civil procedure? Because we are to write them and put them on the public record the same way we're doing the Constitutions, whichever rule you want to use, and make it a law instead of a rule, you can do that. We can do that. We can make it a law if we want to make it a law. And even then, again, putting it on the public record and make it an official record, which is what these calls are. They're official records. And the things that we say on these calls is the law for us. And everyone, all the judges, quote unquote, in every state are bound thereby. So what else makes it an official record? This is proof. Proving an official record. It has to be by a judge of a court of record in the district or political subdivision where the record is kept. And again, all courts and courthouses belong to the Moors, and they are in our territories and our political territories, as well as, again, political, natural, spiritual, metaphysical, lawful, legal, all of that is the Moors. All of it. So whenever I am using Pauline Denise Ritchie in all capital letters and blue ink, then these federal rules for civil procedure come into play there. Even if it's in black ink, if I were to, which I don't have a reason to do that because I'm not going into a corporation to work, because that's where that black ink it came from. Is if Moors went to work at a corporation, then they would do things in black ink and all capital letters. Okay, that's where that came from. But we're actually supposed to be governing this vast estate and hiring ourselves and employing ourselves. We employed everybody else thus far. So, and that's why they will keep continuing to get autographs or signatures and signatures and signatures of these instruments that we use, Pauline Denise Ritchie, in all capital letters. That's That's an instrument. That's not me. And at this point, because of our fiduciary document, it is an Empire State instrument. And that's where these come into play at, these federal rules for civil procedure. But at any time, we can, and at all times, we must be ourselves. At all times, we must be ourselves. Even when using these instruments, we must be ourselves, because our nationality is what makes it so that no one can hold us as surety when we're using these instruments. But the instruments can't be stateless instruments. They must be instruments that are written and originate with the Moors. Okay? So we're the justices. We know that. This court and all Moorish courts are courts of record. So there again, we prove repeatedly that our records are official. Let's look at this last one. It says, if they're placed on each of the following evidences an official record or entry into an official record that is otherwise admissible by any public officer with a seal of office and with official duties in the district or political subdivision where the record is kept. Again, that's the Moors. That's us. We're the only ones with a seal that's valid. And the most valid seal, again, Moors, is your right red thumbprint. So that's what makes your records official records. Your right red thumbprint and then publishing it. Period. So this, and again, the word domestic here, when we speak this law, the word domestic means anywhere within the empire. So I don't care if I'm at Japan territory, China territory, Timbuktu, don't matter. The official records that we have placed on the closed record here apply there for those who travel. So again, domestic means within the empire. Now, here it talks about, at B it says a copy attested by the officer with legal custody of the record or by the officer's deputy and accompanied by a certificate that the officer has custody. Well, what's a certificate? Certified mailing receipt. That's a certificate. So those green and white certified mailing receipts that we send out, and we get, whether you get an autograph back or not, the fact that you sent it makes it an official record. So something like this. Okay? Sure. Just one moment. Okay. You know, any of these, green and white, or any of the other colors, the certified mail receipt. This is a certificate. It's a certificate. So a lot of the programming that's been put in, that was previously put in place, we just didn't know it was this simple. And it's not really, and I can't minimize it because simple is not the right word. What we've been doing is anything but simple. If it was that easy, anybody could have done it in terms of the blacks and the citizens. But it's just, no. So the Moors have been doing things that are, it's been right all along. It's been right all along. But some have been feeling like, you know, they don't recognize this and they don't recognize that. Well, it's only it's only when we recognize it that they have to recognize it. That's the only way things get done, is we have to know it first. Because, see, they already know who we are. The citizens and the subjects and the foreigners, they all know who we are already. So domestic means within the empire state to include all custodians within the empire. Okay? When you serve custodians with documents and you call them a custodian according to law, then they are bound by the Constitution to keep the official record and properly notify all agents, principals, heirs, assigns, and any and all derivatives thereof. This includes banking records, nationality records, etc. But if you call them a judge, or you call them a clerk, or you call them anything but a custodian, then they're gonna immediately act as if that's valid, because the sovereign word is the sovereign word. That's why I don't even let other words come out of my mouth regarding them, their custodians, period, because we've done the court actions and put them in subject status, and that's what they are. Are there any questions about this thus far? Because I do see a hand. Islam, you can start 6, nobility.
Grand Rising Empress and matriarchs and nobles. I'm looking at this document. It says certification, which is equal to the green certified return recipient. The thing is, worldwide, there's different colors. So is it necessary to put the color in? Because in the UK, it's grey and blue. So if you left out the colouring, then it could stand for everybody worldwide. But if you keep the colouring in, it's only significant in America.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for that. I'm so honored that you said that. Let me correct it right now, because that's important, nobility. Any certified receipt, doesn't matter what color, doesn't matter what land you're on, any return receipt, whether it be international, registered, certified, all of that is proof that an official record has been sent, received, or placed on the public record. Yes, thank you for that.
Islam.
Yes, and please, anytime I say things that seem like it's only for this land, please correct me, please, because we do have the other lands that are presenting themselves here and that are a part of us. So I want to be sure that we don't do that, because that's not, we shouldn't do that. And bear with us as we grow in that area. Thank you for that. So no matter what landmass you're on, certified, registered, however you send your mailings, and that includes however they're sent here or anywhere, or the UK or Japan or any of the other lands that belong to the heirs, and that's all land really. That is considered a certificate. Okay, so the things that we've been doing meet and exceed all of these rules that say what is an official record or what isn't an official record. Okay. And then it says domestic record, but even if you're talking about international records, the same rules apply, and we can actually make this the law for us. And it's, you know, it's the law for each one who has used it in the past, but we can vote it into law even right now if we want to do that. if you all are okay with that being put on the table, we can just take a quick vote on making this rule a law retroactively, not pro tunc. Is anyone in objection to placing this on the public record as the law for our documents and for our records?
Islam. And Bay.
Islam.
Califia territory. Yay.
Islam. And feel free to start this. Yes, Islam.
Sorry. Take Asapee Bay, North Carolina territory. Yay.
Islam. Tyrese Lloyd L. Alabama territory. Yay.
Islam.
Islam, Angel Bay, Swampomac, Providence. Yay.
Islam.
Islam. Morpheus, Pascal, Ham, Freeman, Nell, Berlin, reservation. Yay.
Islam.
Islam.
Betty J. Bay, Illinois territory. Yay.
Islam.
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 Rose L. from Khalifa territory. Yay.
Islam.
Mitchell Bay, London territory, UK. Empress, can I have a look at the bottom of that document in red? Because where it talks about the certified part, because that's the part with the law in it. So is it okay? Push the screen up a bit so we can read it.
Nobility, I would actually prefer that you write it and make it relevant for your land, because you all are governing there.
Yeah.
Are you okay with taking this rule and putting it in red? Is that what what you're stating?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the law that goes with it, that governs this part here, Rule 44, is underneath what you're showing us. So, for instance, when it said when it said about the certified, that part there.
Okay. Yes, I'll say any certified return receipt. Will that?
Okay.
If we say any, will that suffice, nobility?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just going to read the rest of it now.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Yes, that is what the vote is regarding. It's just making this this rule a law for us and for our documents non pro tunc, which means anytime we've sent anything in the past and up to now and in the future. Are there any other votes? Go ahead, Nobility.
Justice Frank Hill, territory. Yay.
Islam.
Islam.
C. Petit Hill, Detroit territory. Yay.
Islam.
Sheep Equinde, Carolina territory. Yeah.
Islam.
Swindled hoodwinked United States of America. Fuck no.
Islam.
Go ahead, Mo.
Carolyn the Wiggins, Eel, Alabama territory. Yay.
Islam.
J. Young, Illinois territory.
Territory. Yay.
Islam.
Mitchell Bay. Empress, where is got the words custodians in the document? Are they not supposed to be in blue? Would they not be more significant in blue as custodians?
We can put it in blue when we're speaking among ourselves, we can put it in either red or blue. But on our documents, when we're calling them custodians, it's definitely in blue. Yes, absolutely.
Fake.
Okay, well, Mitchell Bay, Islam.
Islam.
William Smith Bay, Mississippi Territory. Yay.
Islam.
Mitchell Bay, Memphis Territory. Yay.
Islam. And then there are some votes in the chat as well that we are putting folks about Islam. 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 Islam, Empress. Okay. Okay. Are there any other votes? Yay or nay? Are there any other votes?
Jade Michael, Illinois Territory.
Yes.
Ezekiel Bay.
Nikki, weren't you gone?
Justice Jade Michael, what was your vote? I'm sorry.
Yay.
Islam.
Islam.
Are there any other votes?
Islam. Kahusia.
Islam.
Bayan. Will I am Shu ill. Manhattan Territory. Yay.
Islam. Okay. I believe and there are other, let's see. Okay, I'm making sure that I just record the number of votes. Okay, I believe we have in fact we do have a unanimous vote that this Rule 44 proving of an official record is on the public record as the law, non-pro-tunc, for all of the documents that we sent out, for all of the records and affidavits that we placed on the public record, whether it be by mailing, whether it be by publication of any kind, that this rule is the law for those records. So they are indeed and always were official records, but it's important that we do these processes because, thank you, we have your vote in the chat, thank you. It's important that we do these processes so that we prove to ourselves and to the ancestral energies that we are 100% prepared to fully govern this vast estate in the protocols that we put in place. Because protocol is important when you're talking about government and governing. And we have to show our ancestral energies that we're prepared to do so, as well as those who did not think that all brown faces governing would be something valid. But because, and I will say this, because we're doing things in the way that it was meant to be done, the trust factor.
You are a liar. You do not have a vast estate.
The trust factor will be there. Okay? The trust factor among those who know government, those who know law, will be there. So, and also, if I might make a recommendation, please, if you have an opportunity to go out onto YouTube and look at the Barbados government and the way that they're governing, it is just beautiful. Prime Minister Mia Mottley is just dynamic and amazing, and she really knows what she's doing. They give us a great example to look at and to not to follow, but to look at and observe on how governance should be done. And that's with little to no resources. So that they have over there at Barbados, so to speak. And I can't say little to no resources because Barbados is sitting on top of trillions and trillions in resources just like we are. Okay. And so, again, with regard to the certificate piece as well, see also the mailbox rule and the posting rule. And I'll just put the mailbox rule up on the screen really quickly. Again, offer is considered accepted at the time that the acceptance is communicated, whether it be by mail or email or whatever. And we've already put this into law for us. And then here's the posting rule quickly on the screen. And here where it says acceptance is effective as soon as it is posted, there's a reason why social media uses the term posting a comment, because they knew that when you posted on social media, they knew that that legal ramifications happen based on what's being posted out there. That's why you can't go out there and post a quote-unquote threat without repercussions. And then they take that post, and not yours because we don't do that. But they take the post of those who do things like that and they present it, in their corporate court, and it's considered evidence. It's considered an official record. Just posting on social media. So people, just keep that in mind as you're out there on social media. So with that being said, I want to show you really quickly, we've been about an hour now. I want to show you just really quickly the King County Charter that was done with regard to the county charter that has been rewritten here at this territory, and we're placing it on the public record. We started it around the 11th of February, and this is what it looks like. It's on our letterhead. We spell King Q-I-N-G, and the subject spell it K-I-N-G. It has our not our corporate, but our court action language. And then it's in blue. We put it in capitis diminution nolo. Okay. And this one came out to, I'm not sure how many pages. And then at the bottom, we went ahead and put our what made it simpler here is that we already had King County Superior Court stamp, and Pierce County, and Snohomish County, and Thurston County, and then we also had this autograph from the Federal Reserve, the Office of the Federal Reserve. Okay, so we just put those there just as proof of official record. Oh, I'm sorry.
We can't see it.
Thank you for that, Empress. Okay, let me I apologize.
Now it's visible. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Empress. I appreciate that. Let me go back up to the top. Again, this is the King County Charter for us. And this is another, again, taking these steps makes it so that when you claim domiciles and land and things like that, no one can question whether or not you have the authority to do it because you put the authority in place. Okay? And we did it again, it starts with our court action language in red and all lowercase letters, and if you'll notice here in the court action language, let me just make this really clear. I did not put, I am sovereign living justice, like to jure bay, etc. I didn't put anything specific to me in this document, except that I autographed it at the bottom. But it's because it's for everyone. It's not a document that I am putting forth. It is our state and our government putting it forth. Okay, so it doesn't have to be specific to white, or because it's not about me, and it's not about Pauline. It's not about that. It's about the land and the people and our government and our state. I think this one came out to, I'm not sure how many pages, but because this is King County, and when I say King County, we're talking our King County, having the stamps already, King County Superior Court, Thurston County Superior Court, Pierce County Court, and then the Snohomish County Court. And then as well we have the Office of the Federal Reserve. We had these things already, and you all are free to use these as often as you want to use them as well, because again, our land is not separated. We have territory. We don't have those political boundaries that the corporates put it, were pretending were there. Okay, and so now the only thing is, again, it's on the public record, so no one can say that you're in King County, and I'll say yes, I am in King County, and so are you, and this is the King County that you're in, because this is our territory. Same thing with the state constitution that we're putting on the public record. And again, they're territories and reservations, or whatever you call them, provinces, some more call them provinces. No one can say that you're in this place or that place, because you have proof that you have placed yourself on the land. That way, any properties, those properties are on the land. They're on your land. Okay? So that is what this is, that's why we're doing all of these things. And these charters, this is a King County charter, and it talks about elections, it talks about financial procedures. Again, we're our delarium, more sovereign delarium, it is commercially viable as we make it commercially viable. Okay, that's something we have to do. And then we can use it to buy land, and we can use it to, and we're not buying land, we're claiming and proclaiming. Okay, we're doing sovereign exchange, but we have to show where it is that this land is. Where is this land that you're talking about? Okay, so that is what why we're doing the things that we're doing. Are there any questions? There's a couple of lines that are coming up on the sound meter. Are there any questions about the county charters or the constitutions that we're putting on the public record or anything of that nature? And again, Morris, it's going to be important that you not sit and wait for someone else to do it. You do it so that you can prove where your land is. And then, and even if you know that someone else put it on the public record, for example, I'm at Washington Territory and Washington Reservation, there are other Moors here. They can do the same. They can put it on the public record so that they can stand on their demonstration when they get the domiciles and knowing that they're traveling in the jurisdiction of their ancient ancestral inherited estate. Okay? Are there any questions or comments with regard to why we're doing what we're doing and how we're going about properly claiming and proclaiming, okay? Because this is leading to, I mean, some of the things that the ancestors showed me about what we're doing, I can't even talk about it right now because it's everything that we've ever wanted we can have. Let's just put it that, I'll just put it that way. But we have to be willing to step up and do this work. And there are other Moors that are doing other works as well. We honor that because all of this is all working together for our good. All of it is working together for our good.
Leading you to jail.
Okay, so just one moment. Let me get that piece taken care of.
Empress, point of interest.
Yes.
Is there a civil procedure rule that states their duty is to stamp your paperwork?
Is it what it does state again, please?
Is there a civil procedure rule that states that they have to stamp your paperwork?
They don't have to stamp anything. We stamp it.
You stamp it with their stamp at the bottom, or is that the moorishe seal at the bottom? I know the moorishe seal, but the stamp's at the bottom.
Yeah, there's nothing that there. Okay, so there's nothing that says, and I can't even say that because that's not true. We had to end all controversy, and the treaty talks about controversy on the land. Okay.
Yeah.
Because they're custodians, and you can look at the treaty, and you can also look at the Constitution for verification and of why we did what we did there. There had to be consensus between us and the subjects on the land. There had to be. There could not be war. There had to be peace. And peace does not look like what we thought it looked like. Peace is, they're here to teach us to govern. Okay? And when we get it right, then they say, okay, that's right. Now, when I say they, again, to answer your question a little further, we can go to, and this is just one place that we'll answer the question about those stamps being at the bottom. Let's go to the Circle 7, Chapter 29, and let's look at why we even bothered. Chapter 29 in the Circle 7, as divinely prepared by the noble prophet Jure. Chapter 29 is entitled Magistrate and Subject. Magistrate, which is us, and subject, which is them. It says, and I'll just read verses 1 and 2 and 3 so that you know why it's important that there not be conflict. Because, see, we're not in a fight with them. We're not in a fight with them. In fact, they actually will get in their proper status when we are competent. And we've been stating that the whole time, that when we're competent, they will get in subject status and assist, because that's what subjects are supposed to do, assist, not fight and block and keep throwing people in jail. Okay? It says, verse 1 says, O thou, the favorite of heaven, whom the Son of Men, see, our sons are the sons of God. Okay? We're God, and that's a given. And it's not a given. Let's just state it on the record. Our sons are the sons of God, and the subjects are the sons of men. It says, O thou, the favorite of heaven, whom the Son of Men, thy equal, And again, when they're talking about by equals, they're talking about those instruments that we use. Pauline Denise Ritchie, in all capital letters in blue, is equal to a son of man. Okay? Thy equals have agreed to raise to sovereign power and set as a ruler over themselves. Consider the ends and importance of their trust. Those stamps are proof of trust. Okay? Their trust in us. That's why their fiat says, in God we trust. They're talking about us when we get it right, when we are competent. And then it says here, far more than the dignity and height of thy station. Thou art clothed in purple and seated on a throne. The crown of majesty invested thy temples. The scepter of power is placed in thine hand, and our scepters are our red pens and our right red seal, thumbprint. It says, but not for thyself were these ensigns given. These signs are not just for us. It says, not meant for thine own, but for the good of thy kingdom. And then verse 3, the final one that I'll read right now, because this is my favorite. This is my favorite, besides chapter 1, this is my favorite in this book. It says, the glory of a king is the welfare of his people. His power and dominion rest on the hearts of his subjects. Okay? And again, we spell king Q-I-N-G. So we were, as magistrates, we were to gain the trust of the subject. When we talk about trust documents, trust is a seal. When the king trusted someone, he would give them his seal, right? When Esther, Queen Esther, went in to the king to save her people in the ancient record, not just the bibliophilial text, but the ancient record. When Queen Esther, who was a Moor, went in to the king to save her people, she had to get his seal, his trust. A seal is a sign of trust. And so we wanted to show competence in that area. And that's why we did it. Because the ancestors said, go do that. When it was time for us to do it, the ancestors told us to go do it, and now they're showing us in the Holy Quran why that's so important.
Point of interest, Empress. I don't think a lot of people. I don't think when you go down to the courthouse and start talking like that, it's going to make much difference over here. These people here, that's like giving them an education. They're not really interested in that because they can't identify with the things that you just said. So I was looking at it that it'd be, if there was a civil procedure law, that I could say to them, civil procedure law under that particular one, it's your duty to stamp this document, then I think that would be more understanding for them. Apart from that, I don't think.
Go ahead, my dear. Sorry.
Yeah. Apart from that, I don't think that they would stand up there and listen to me reading what you just read. You know, I don't think they'd be interested in that.
So they won't be.
No.
I didn't have to read this. I didn't have to read this in order to get the stamp. I didn't have to read this. What I did was listen to what the ancestors said about that. And then they told me where to go and what to do. Now, it's in there that documents, there's a reason why they stamp everything that comes across. There's a reason for that. Here's what I'll say to you, nobility. Because, see, the ones over there, they're no different from the ones here. They're no different. But when it's time, the ancestors will allow that to present itself as necessary. When it's time. It may not be time yet for them to hear that, for them to hear it. Okay. When it's time, you won't even have to say it. When it's time, you won't even have to tell them. See, we don't have to prove anything to them. We are actually proving competence to ourselves. I didn't have to say anything to them about those stamps. I spoke to some of them, but that was just to give commands and do some action.
The thing is, the culture over here is different and the people are different. Maybe over there they have more understanding of what's going on, but here, definitely not. So these are date stamps from the court. Yeah?
Yes. They will over time. Just give it some time, nobility, and continue to stand peacefully. Because see, when in 2017, I felt that way too. When I did the POW thing in 2017, I felt that way too. But I said, you know what? I'm gonna stand regardless. I don't care how long I had to be in there. I was gonna stand. And the longer you stand, and the longer you're peaceful, and the longer you continue to put the law forth, they're going to do exactly what you tell them to do, because you're going to speak competently to them. And I'm not saying that you're not competent now. What I am saying, though, is that over time, the longer you stand, the more you'll start to see them getting in alignment with the things you say. Look how long it's been. I started in 2017. It's not going to take you that long. It's not going to take you that long. I would say in the next 6 months, maximum.
I haven't got that time, Empress. What I'm doing, Empress, I ain't got 6 months. No.
Yes, you do.
I've been going for a few years now, so I don't have that time. I want to get it done now. So that's why I'm asking you. Did you bring this document down to the courthouse? Did you post it to them? What was your procedure? How did you proceed to get it done?
Here, okay, so my procedure to do that here in all the territories, first of all, I did not have to stand in front of any of them, okay? I didn't schedule a court, whatever, because I'm the court. So my procedure was this. The ancestors gave me some information about the stamp and about those landlords, the ones that were previously doing business as landlords, and how they would continue to be putting the Moors out. Because I was thinking about the Moors when this information came. And so I said, the ancestor said, just go down there and see where people are getting things done, things stamped at. So I went down to our King County courthouse, and I went in and I just asked someone, where do we stamp our documents? That was my question. Where do we stamp our documents? Because I remembered this just from doing some research and just thinking about things. I remembered that we can stamp our own documents, because what they do is they have, it's there too. I know it's there because it's a part of quote unquote common law too. So I know they have it there. It just hasn't been shown to you yet, but it will be the minute you ask. So my procedure was, I took a stack of documents down there, the 40-something documents, okay, that we have, that we've put on the public record. I took those down there, just one moment, and I just asked them, where do we stamp our documents? And they just pointed around the corner. And what people normally do with those is absolutely backwards from what should be being done with them. What people do with those is they take documents from state court and they stamp them and turn themselves in to the corporate.
Mm-hmm.
So if they say you owe $3,000, we need to make sure that this is signed and that it's back to us by this date. They'll bring it back and stamp it with that thing and slide it into what is called a judge's mail slot or the judge's mail room. Who's the judge, though? So anyway, I took a stack of documents and a whole bunch of delarium down there. And I just began stamping them. Stamping the documents. And this was done, I went several times, and I went to 4 different courthouses. And each one of them were county courthouses. That's number one. They had to do with the land. County courthouses, and that's because we say it has to do with the land. Only because we say it, and only because we spell county the way we spell it. And I just went to each one. I said, okay, well, if I can get them stamped here, if I can stamp them here, then I can stamp them at this other one too. And the ancestor said, go ahead, daughter. Go ahead and do it. So I went and I went through all of these documents, and you'll see stamp after stamp from different ones. This is a stamp from, and I just went and I just stamped document after document after document. They have the things sitting on the counters, and you just go in, and sometimes there's a line of people stamping things, and they're stamping probation stuff, and they're stamping, you know, and just agreeing to be enslaved. And I'm like, something is wrong with this, because if that says judges, who's the judges? We know we're the judges. And so I went, and the ancestor said, okay, you did that today, now go down to Pierce County Courthouse and do the same thing. Okay, now go to Snohomish County and do the same thing. Now go to Thurston County, and Thurston County is where the our ancient capital is, because that's Olympia, Mount Olympus. That's what this is. This is Mount Olympus. And so I went there and stamped and stamped. And you can stand there and stamp as much as you want to stamp. You can stand there for hours if you want to stand there for hours and just stamp document after document after document after document.
Okay,
and
point
if
of
you
interest.
want to turn it in, you can slip it in the little judge's thing or whatever, or slide it over the counter, or drop it in the box if you want to do that.
No.
If you don't want to do it, you keep your documents and put them on the public record. It's still valid, and the sheriffs, the ones doing that, not the sheriffs, because we're the sheriff, the custodians in the office of the sheriff, they have to actually enforce what's there. Those that were previously doing business as landlords did that repeatedly, and we thought that they were actually having a judge, which they're not even real judges. We thought that they were standing before someone and having that someone say, yes, put them out. No, they weren't doing that. They were pretending to be the judge and pretending to be the law.
Yeah, acting. Yeah,
and we're the law.
Yeah, acting. It's in their documentation that the judge is an actor. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Do you give them a copy? You write a copy on it and give them a copy of that document, or you just get the
if I'm led to give them a copy, I give them a copy. I leave a copy with them. But if I'm not led to do it, I don't, because again, when we put it on the public record, it's filed with everybody everywhere, just like the Constitution. Notice the agent is notice the principal. Notice the principal is notice the agent. If even one of them sees a video or sees something on Facebook or wherever, and they are watching because that's their job, then it's the law.
Yeah, the reason I'm asking you is because I don't live far from what you might know it, the Royal Courts of Justice. You know, we've got the Royal Courts of Justice here. So, it's got the Rolls building, which is the head of the judicial system over here. Yeah.
The custodian of the
yes.
head of the judicial system.
Yeah, the custodians, yeah. So the thing is, anything that goes into that building and gets given to the custodians, yeah, then it will be noted countrywide. You see what I'm saying? So I'm thinking, get the date stamp on it, but also write copy and give them a copy that they put it in their records. And then nobody can argue with that. But you're saying that you
of
just...
course. It's an official record based on what we voted into law here today. It's an official record. Even when you notify them, it's an official record. Okay, so that's, you know, if that's
that's simple. Okay, I yield.
It really is that simple. But see, we did not know it was that simple. We thought that it was jumping through a lot of hoops and doing a whole bunch of things, you know, whatever. We thought it was all of that when really it's not.
Okay, because I'm looking at the documents and I'm saying that for it to be acknowledged in their system by their people without going through all the rigmarole, if you could order them, because you said in your webinar before, I hereby command you. Can you hereby command them to put the seal on it, the court seal on it? To make it.
They don't have a choice. That's what I'm saying. It's not their choice. That's not a choice that they have. It's not a choice. It's something that we just do. You see what I'm saying? So I didn't. Let me clarify that I didn't go and walk behind someone's desk. No, the way that courts are set up, and all land courts are set up the same way, even though they're slightly different there. But my question is, have you asked the land courts, the ones that, you know, and again, we know they're custodians, have you asked the custodians at the land court about their seal, about how landlords were getting their documents sealed? Because that's really the key right there. Have you asked them?
Yeah, how they do it is they go in the judge's chamber, yeah? The judges seals documents between like 9 and 10 o'clock in the morning. And you have to be able to go into the judge's chamber. But to get in there, that's the problem. As soon as they know who you are, as soon as they know who you are, that you're not part of their society, yeah, they refuse from seeing you.
Okay, so you have to state that properly. Okay, you're not a part of their society. They are actually subjects in your nation, your government. Okay, and again, when you articulate that in your spirit to yourself first, okay, and I will say that I can hear it a little bit in your language that sometimes you still give them a title. The programming that happens within us, and the reason I point that out is because we actually have to know within ourselves first that they're custodians, and then they will act like custodians. They will. But let me say this. You have to notify them beforehand of their status and who they are, and then you say, okay, I will be at your chamber, at the office of the chamber, so that you as custodian can stamp these documents, or you as custodian can watch as I stamp them, either one. Okay? So when our language reflects that we know that they're custodians, they will do exactly as commanded. They will. Because if they didn't, I wouldn't be sitting here.
Yeah, I'm mostly thinking about getting the court seal on it rather than the date stamp. That's what I would be going to see the judge about, so that, you know.
Well, I wouldn't want their seal. I wouldn't want their seal. I would not want their seal, because our seal is the valid seal. A stamp.
I can't hear you, Empress.
So it always does that after I'm in a certain, I think it's a certain amount of time I have to sign back in. But their seal is not necessary for me. Now again, if you want to get a seal, you can get a seal if that's what you want. Their seal is not necessary for me because our gold seals and our government seals and all of that are enough right now. That may change in the future for me. But right now, proper notification of the party was the point of this, is so that as we're proceeding and moving forward, any sheriff, not sheriff, any custodian in the office of the sheriff will know, will see what he needs to see as a custodian in order to do what he's supposed to do.
Okay.
That's the reason why. And again, and we stated this from the very beginning, because this is actually in all court actions, the most important first step in all court actions is proper identification of the parties, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have to make it known, and we've done that they know who we are.
Mm-hmm.
Because we properly notified.
Yeah.
The reason I was asking you that,
the reason I was asking you that, Empress, is you know, because the system recognized them their seal rather than our seal. So for ease of service, for example, when you do a court action, yeah, and you go through the court case and you put your seal and everything, if for ease of service, if their seal was on it, then it couldn't be questioned, because we got some dumb people over here, you know, that is going to question these things when you give it to them and say to the provost marshal, right, I want you to act now because you act on judgments, yeah? So here's the judgment. Go and, you know, if it's assets or whatever, or, you know, buildings or whatever, he will go and do his diligent duty. So I'm saying in that instance, that's why I was asking you that question, if it would be more beneficial or easier to know.
If you're looking for ease, you're in the wrong place. I'm just saying, you know, if you're looking for ease and the path of least resistance, it gets easier the more we do it. I'll say that. It does get easier more. Now, listen to me carefully. I don't want you to misconstrue that statement of if it's ease you're looking for. We've been at ease in our sleep. We needed to stand up and be bold and state who we really are. Why? Because you're saying that their system recognizes things. They don't have a system. That's the problem. That's the problem. The system belongs to the Moors. So we have to take complete control of that system. And so, when I say submit that system, submit it. Pull it. When I say submit it, I mean put it on its knees and have it do what you say. But it will only do that when we're peaceful, number one. Number two, when we're competent, and number three, when we're thinking about everyone and not just ourselves.
Okay.
Because the ancient, and I'm not saying you're not doing any of those things. What I am saying, though, is that they don't have a system, and they know they don't have a system, and they will submit to you when you exhibit all of the qualities, and I'm not saying you're not doing that. Hear me out, because I want to make this very clear to all Moors, myself included, is there are certain things that we say and do that they know their Creator says and does. And if we're saying anything outside of that, or if we're exhibiting energy, any energy outside of our true nobility and who we really are, then they're automatically going to not recognize and buck up and act corporate, like corpses. Okay? We've been through that. We've been through that.
Yeah, I've been to court, and the clerk at the court's hiding. So I understand what you're saying.
But she's not the clerk of the court. She's not the clerk.
Okay, the custodial clerk of the court then. Yeah? So I understand what you're saying. Yes. I do understand what you're saying. But I'm just thinking in terms of ease, because the fact that we as Moors, we have the power over them to command them to do something. I'm looking at it from that perspective to say, ordering them to put their seal on it, even though our seal is the highest seal, would that be a good thing in terms of ease of getting what you want done quickly without having to go through explanation after explanation? That's all.
Islam, I have a question.
Okay.
Have you just one more. Satisfy a court action?
Yes. They've been leaned. I had to lean them first, notify them that they've been leaned, and then you can go out there on YouTube and you'll see where King County and the ones that were doing business as King County and doing business as sheriff and doing business as this, that, and the third, their court actions are right out there on the public record where they can see.
I was speaking to the brother
we had to do that.
Who has the problems in UK.
Oh, yeah. Nobility, have you done that? Court actions on them?
Me? I'm just getting ready. I'm just getting ready to do that. So I'll start the process, and I'm just trying to think ahead, like the steps ahead. That's why I'm asking the questions, because I just want to do everything correct. I don't want to have to do something wrong and then start again or get thrown back. I just want to be able to run through smoothly, That's how I like to do it.
So I know you like to do it that way, and it will come that way eventually, nobility. It's just as a suggestion. I would suggest that the whole thinking ahead to try and mitigate and saying that you like to do it right the first time. If I had said that, I would probably be in jail or something, because we actually have to learn to listen from within as we're doing the demonstrations. Because I've stated this before, the ancestors will tell us to do something, and at the time that they tell us to do it, they don't always show us what we see after. They always, and this is with every demonstration I've ever done, they'll say, okay, do this. And I'll do it, not seeing the whole picture yet. And it's only after I do the demonstration that they show me it in writing where what I did was absolutely correct, or where it could be, you know, tightened up. But this is an exercise in learning to hear from within. This is not really a check the box. Yes, I got this document. Yes, I got that document. Yes, I got this document. Okay, then everything should be fine. No, it's actually an exercise in us learning to connect with the ancestral energies inside of us so that we can hear on how to make our way easy. Because the way is easy, but it's only easy when we're competent to make it easy. It's not going to be easy from the very beginning, because there's going to be some things that we need to see.
Islam.
And the answers come in the testing. Okay? That's where we get the answers from.
Okay, I yield Islam. Thank you.
Islam.
Go ahead, Empress.
To piggyback on what you're saying is because you had leaned USAA, right? And I was banking with them, and I have been banking with them. So I took the lien that you had done, I sent it to them again, I did a court action on them, and I sent them the command. And then they come back and tell me, well, we can't change your name because you haven't gotten a court-issued document. And so I was like, interesting. And they sent me some fictitious statement from New York and some code or whatever stating that I need to get it from a court. And I'm like, okay, so I that came yesterday. So here comes today, because every single time I need what I need, the universe gives me. So today we voted on this one, this act on the Rule 44, providing an official record. So I'm like, Islam, this is exactly what I need now to come again and now issue them a core wanto, give them this Rule 44, and tell them, like, I am the court, and this is what you have to do. I commend you, and this is it. Non prontonc.
There it is.
But I do have a question, though. Did you rename that particular bank? And if you did, what is it?
Well, it's USAA, or the elongated name in red and all lowercase letters first. Then I put it in blue. As above, so below.
Okay.
Because, Empress, you're the CEO of USAA from the beginning. They know that. And that's why they don't close accounts when Moors start, and they not now some Moors they have done that too, depending. But that was their test. But most Moors, they don't close accounts and things like that when we start demonstrating, because they know we're right, especially when we first send it in red and all lowercase letters. They know we're right. This is an exercise in do we know it? That's really all this is. Do we know that we're the authority? So now you can prove to her, whoever it is, but I would take this rule, Empress, and I would put it in red and all lowercase letters so that it's coming from the Savior. And then I would put it in blue for her, for whoever it is that you're sending it to, whatever custodian you're sending it to. Put it in red first and then in blue.
Islam. And I have one more quick question. So, because you had mentioned a few meetings prior about what you take for your health that's improved your vision. What was that again?
Yes. So, the sea salt that I make here at home, at my domicile, rather. I go down the street about 5 minutes away. There's a body of salt water. And I take that water and I boil it down, and what's left is sea salt, and I take the sea salt every day and throughout the day. And then I started using, and this is going to sound crazy, but it works because of the sulfur content. I use medicated self-in blue, and I use it on my skin and everything. It's whole body, not just the hair. And it started getting in my eyes, and the sulfur content of it started making my eyesight much better, much better, much better. It was getting medicated sulfur-8 in my eye.
Islam, much thanks, gratitude.
Yeah. And then taking the sea salt too, because one thing about us, when the carbon and the sulfur and the sea minerals get together, because if you all have noticed, I stopped wearing makeup on these calls because it's having an effect on my skin that I just love. It just causes it to shine. So I'm like, okay, I don't need the makeup anymore. And that's just my opinion of me. Some might think, oh, girl, put that makeup back on. Well, that's your opinion. But I'm okay with not having it because, you know, the sulfur content in the medicated the medicated self-in blue, and then also sulfur-8 hair grease. I put that on my skin too on certain days, like maybe once every 2 weeks or something like that. I'll put sulfur-8 on my skin and let it sit on my skin for, you know, an hour maybe, you know. And the results are just, my hair is growing really quickly. I posted a photo on, and I don't want to make this about me, but for the empresses and emperors as well, there are certain things in nature, and this is why this is so important, because we literally stop the aging process and then put it in reverse when we start using things that are natural, like sulfur products and things like that. And really, we're just being set up right now so that we can go out on the land, recognize those things, and then begin making products from them so that we can increase our longevity on the land. Because that's really the impetus behind the ancient record that says, honor thy mother and father so that thy days may be long upon the land. We literally can live to be thousands of years with the stuff that's been blocked off from us on this land mass. Yellowstone Park, the Grand Canyon, the parts that they don't let people go to, is because it's got lakes and water, mineral lakes and things like that make it so that healing, that we can even, and I know this is going a little far, some don't believe me, it's okay, you don't have to, but we can literally regenerate body parts with some of the things that have been blocked off on this land. But we first had to honor our foremothers and forefathers and make it so that we have the authority to go to those places, because no one has the authority as long as we were asleep. But even in the international law and the universal law and even the national law, treaty nations can go to any part of the Grand Canyon because there's things there that, you know, we're the original indigenous are the only treaty nations. And treaty nations can go to the Antarctic and the Arctic because those places have things that we can ingest or put on our skin or put on our hair. And you're talking about healing and levitating and all of that. Monoatomic gold and silver. Read up on the effects of monoatomic gold and silver when it comes in contact with these bodies. You're talking about magic and defying laws of gravity and healing and all of that. We are gods. We're gods. And what's happening right now, more, just for the record, is all of the things that were keeping us from our power is corporate things, including the food and all of that. And all of that stuff is gradually being moved out of the way. And again, we're not going to starve. What's going to happen is the natural foods and things, because this is a gradual thing, the natural foods are going to be coming. And when I say natural, not like what they were saying previously in the stores were natural. That's not natural. If we didn't produce it, it's not natural. That's why they put natural in all capital letters. But I'm seeing that even the real natural foods, the longer we do this work, those things are starting to appear. But, you know, we have to keep moving forward in the manner that we're moving forward so that peace returns to the land like it is, and so that we can access those things on our estate that heal our bodies and that make it so that we won't even need food. I'll tell you that. We won't even need it. Because, see, the purpose of food in the first place, and again, I'm not saying don't eat, because we eat. We still eat. We're going to eat. But what I'm saying is, in our God-like state, okay, and this is down the road, in our God-like state, we can take natural things from the land and eat and ingest it, and there's no need for food. The only purpose of food in the first place was to fulfill nutritional things that were missing because we stopped taking the natural things. Even with the sea salt that I produce here, that I generate here from off the land, from our land, that sea salt, when I take it, it's almost like it's a natural appetite suppressant. And it's not really suppressing appetite, it's filling the need that the food fills. You know, craving for things like pizza and all of these things that we love. You know, I love French fries, I love pizza and all that, but that's not something we can eat every day. But I've noticed that I don't crave that stuff when I take the sea salt. That I'll have regular, you know, portions and things like that, and then if I want that, I'll go get that. But it's not something that I crave. And throughout the day, if you're having those things that we were taught were hunger pains, they're not hunger pains, they're actually thirst pains. Hunger pains are not a thing. That's not real. It's thirsting, because our bodies need more water than it needs food. But when you do water and sea salt first thing in the morning, then throughout the day, even though you're eating your lunch and your dinner or whatever it is that, you know, whatever schedule you're on, you won't have the cravings to go and do something reckless as often, you know. But it's because the sea salt is not really primarily salt. It's actually salty sea minerals, which is something that we need. The only reason food is here is because we stopped taking that stuff. Sea salt, we stopped using natural sulfur and natural. There are things on this land that, oh my, wow. You're talking about reversing aging and all of that. They already know, and that's why hospitals and things like that, first the mores are going to be in place, and then after a while we won't need as much of that. We won't need as much of the things that were here previously because of the natural things that will take place. And for most that resonates. It makes sense, you know. It makes sense. And the sea salt just gave me a bird's eye view into how natural things connect with our bodies. I mean, things that I thought that we could not do because we were told it was, you know, oh, that'll make you sick. A lot of that stuff is exactly what we need. So, anyway, I don't want to go on too far with that.
Can I just, because we was told that we was going to go to a dark blackout, but then I read this article that was saying that it was actually the sun in the sky that had a tsunami that caused the sun to be shown as dark in particular places. I think I'll get the article and put it in the chat. but it was a particular interesting read. And I'm saying to myself that, wow, things that we've said and we know to happen is not as obvious as people would look for it to be. It's like the hidden things that is happening in the spirit that happens first. Like, you can't see, look at the sun now, but it's happening. And to know that it's happening, it's like, okay, this is a manifestation on this side. And so I'm just like, I said to myself today, that I'm waiting because I know that what we're doing is going to be a manifestation in the finances and everything else that we've been hoping and not hoping, but knowing that's going to manifest and praying for and doing our due diligence to have happen. Islam.
Well, you know, everything belongs to us already. Everything belongs to us already. We just need to manifest that we know that. This is about our knowing. Do we know it? They, you know, the subjects and the custodians know all of this stuff already. We schooled them. We educated them before we went to sleep. When we created them, we educated them. It's a matter now of, do we know it? Okay? Those, when you go down the street to those, you know, places that were previously doing business as courts, they already know coming in the doors who you are. They know already. You know, this is an unfoldment. It is a revelation. We're in the days now of revelation, and it was what you were talking about the sun going dark and the moon. All of that stuff. Listen, it sounds like scary Halloween stories, but we won't need it by the time it's gone because we'll be shining so brightly. We have natural and supernatural giftings as a people. There's a reason why the entire earth knows who we are and has been waiting for the day when we would rise. Because they know something about us that most don't know. Even most of us don't know the truth of who we really are and what we really can do. And speaking of jail, I'll say this. Both times that I did POW camp demonstrations was when the ancestors showed me who we really are in those places. And they showed me, they took me into the spirit realm. Especially this last one that I did a year ago, a little over a year ago. The POW demonstration. They showed me then what we're capable of. I'm not going to say too much about it because it'll have me in tears because we're so powerful. But there is nothing that we cannot do. Nothing. And there's nothing we can't have. And all that we're doing right now is accessing that. See, we did the delirium, and I'll tell you the truth of that delirium piece. I wanted the ancestors to give us what we need so that spell can be broken, the fiat spell can be broken, because I see on the other side of that is the natural resources that cause us not to die ever if we don't want to. That heal those who are in wheelchairs and can't see and can't walk and have limbs missing and this and that and the other. No more diabetes, no more high blood pressure, none of that stuff. But it's on the other side of getting past those spells that needed to be broken. That was really what the delirium is all about for us, is we need to be able to get past that spell. And we're past it. We're past it. We just got to keep going. We just got to keep going, because the things that we're able to access there's not enough fiat in a printer in the printers. If every printer printed from now to 1,000 years, there's not enough fiat they can print that would equal 1 ounce of the natural resources that we have access to. And again, yes, the natural resources is about, we're talking about domiciles and conveyances and things like that, but really what we're talking about is longevity. So when they start talking about transhumanism and trying to mix human with robot and artificial intelligence, that's their attempt to try and keep up with what they know is happening with us and what we're accessing. That's what all of this is about. Is we have the authority and the resources to do all of that. Justice Akil, you just put something in the chat. I'm going to copy and look it up. Thank you for that. Are there any other questions or comments? Because
Islam.
I mean, I could put yes, Islam Empress.
I just wanted to share this. I'm doing my morning read, and I'm reading one of their reports about. First of all, I was really surprised to see them say that they were going back to the Constitution for the United States, and then they also said that that there's a new government coming on board, and they don't know who those people are, but there is a new government coming. And I thought that was pretty peculiar. They've never said that before because I read their reports every day, but today that's what came out. And I just wanted to share that. Islam.
You know what? Empress, I'm glad. Thank you for sharing that. I thought that I was the only one seeing things like that. And the reason I say that I thought I was the only one seeing things like that is because I know that the ancestors give us information according to our energy and what we're studying and things like that. And they'll let some of us see things, like some of you see some things that I don't see in the news, manifest in the news, based on your energy that you brought that information to you. You've attracted that information to you. I see things like that all the time to where they're even saying it ain't going to look like us, like them. They said the new government. I even heard they had an economic forum in Dubai talking about the money. They even know what it's going to look like. They know where it's coming from and everything. They know it's coming from us. They're listen. The only thing left for them to say that they didn't say was it's them right there. So it's right there. The Moors right there. That's the only thing they didn't say. But everything else pointed straight at the work that's being done here on this landmass. And again, we're not going to take credit because there are a lot of Moors doing a lot of work and a lot of testing going on. So we're all doing this together. We just know our part that we were given to do, and they're talking about it like, hey, it's here already. It's already done. And so, I've gotten to the point where when I see things like that, I don't even send it out to people anymore, because it won't mean the same thing to others sometimes. Sometimes it won't mean the same thing to them as it means to you, because you've done the work. When you send things out, it may mean something to you, but those you send it to, sometimes they get in, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're like, oh, okay. And then others get it. And they're like, see, yeah, they know. Yeah.
Islam.
So, Islam nobility.
Jade Michael, Illinois Territory.
Yes.
Had a question. I'm in the process of correcting the state constitution or editing it as you were saying we were supposed to do. And that's why I kind of wanted to see an example of what you had did, because I think there are things in our Constitution that we need to take out. Like, for instance, Chicago, they have this home rule thing that they brag about, and it's in the state constitution. I was just wondering, are there things in our state constitution that we need to edit out? Because I think this home rule thing was something that they put together, you know, in Chicago, where they don't have in other states, that allows them to, it says here, the power of the local city or county to set up its own system of governing and local ordinances without receiving a charter from the state, which comes with certain requirements and limitations. Chicago kind of prided itself to have like a home rule thing that I guess supersedes the state, and they have it in the Constitution, in the state constitution. And I don't know if that should be included in when we edit, as well as other things that I'm not sure that I should edit out or keep in, because it's home rule.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I were you, because see, all of the states have the home rule in their constitution, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Okay. And there's a little bit of an echo coming from somewhere. I'm not sure where it's coming from. Justice, I think it's probably Justice Jade is probably coming from the line.
I don't hear it here, but I don't know if it's just coming from my line. It's pretty quiet, you know.
Yeah.
I don't see anything on.
Yeah.
Could be something.
So I would leave the home rule in there, and here's why. The home rule is talking about us. This is our home. And when foreigners come to do whatever they do, the home rule will automatically go to us. In other words, our courts will do the ruling where commerce is concerned. So I left it in because it's in the one here. I was actually glad to see it.
Oh, okay. Well, there was other things that I saw that, I mean, did you see anything that was like not necessary in a constitution when you were editing? Because I know you edit out the parts where they say of, state of, and all of that. Is that basically all we edit out, is the state of references, or is there like sections that we don't need to put into a constitution that they put in?
I would suggest that you just leave it as is first initially, and just take out the, state of things, take that out. But for the most part, leave it as is, because all of that is advantageous to us. All of it.
That includes
every bit of it is going to be advantageous.
Salaries and, other type, employment type stuff they have in there.
Because, see, yes, I would leave it there because we can amend over time, but we don't want to take something out that we may or may not understand fully.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It's all advantageous to us. The home rule is so important because, I'm gonna mute you for just a moment, just wait.
Okay.
Just for those who have that home rule situation in their constitutions, which most of them do. With the home rule piece, there are going to be Moors who come here from other places doing commerce and knowing that they're Moors. And the home rule piece is going to make it so that, okay, hold up, we know that you're just as sovereign as we are, but we have home rule when it comes to our commerce and things like that. So if there are any disputes or anything or any controversy, that our court takes care of that. It's protection for us. The home rule is protection for us. Because we will be again, you know, doing commerce with our equals, you know, in terms of sovereignty and sovereign status, you know, which is going to be great. I'm excited about all of that. But with regard to the constitutions, I would leave everything in there except for those state of this and state of that. I would take that out and just leave the appellation of the land, which is, you know, like we stated a couple of times previously. Because the more I look at these constitutions, the more I realize why the states, why they felt like they had to have states. You know, so if I, you know, I would just leave it in there, and then as the controversies arise, okay, because there will be controversies at some point, you know, as they arise, and everyone remains in honor, which they will, because the ancestors are going to make sure of that, or they will not rise any higher than their honorability, okay, and that goes for all of us. As the controversies arise and we refer to the law of the land, the law for the land, those things will become clearer as to why they were put there. Okay. People coming from other states and all of that, and other, you know, tribes and things like that that are in the territories. Moors, as we govern, and those who are placing the constitutions on the public record, you're taking a governor or governmental role. Okay, and that's not in terms of a pre-title. It's in terms of your action, because what you're putting on the public record is a court action. It's the law. Very powerful. The more I see this unfolding, we're so powerful that no one on earth can even, we're powerful. Very, very powerful. So with that being said, I see you, Empress Vania, in the chat. I will do that. I will do that. Thank you. Empress Vania, what territory is that for? HR 0689. Boston. Okay. When you put the Constitution for Massachusetts on the public record, you're going to see where our ancestors were writing and were all throughout it. There's no foreigner could ever come here and have that kind of authority over those who've been here forever. So the state constitutions are protection, but they have to originate with us, which they did, and then the corporate, you know, capitalized it, and now we're just taking it back and putting it under the empire. So very, very, very important when it comes to domiciles and things like that. Very important. So, but see, here's the thing, Moors, domiciles and conveyances cannot be your main focus. Seek ye first the empire, and all of that stuff is coming with it. It's coming with it. It can't go anywhere else. Domiciles, conveyances, I know some really need them very badly. I know that. We all need some things very badly. We think we need them very badly. Okay. Again, there's a picture that's even bigger than the biggest domicile you could get. There's something bigger. So, with that being said, we will adjourn here, and we will pick back up on Sunday. Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Islam.
Islam. Islam. Grand rising here.
Islam. Long live the empire.
Peace and love.
Very right.
Islam.
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 Point of interest before you go.
Islam.
Ask that quick question.
Islam.
Islam ran rise to the
Islam.
Moors. Islam.
Thank you. Islam. Islam justice to kill.
Islam.
Islam, Empress Vania, I see that. That's good stuff. Moorish Country Free Act of 1790, that's good. That's good stuff. Good study. Good research. And you can take what they have, put it in red and all lowercase letters and use it. And then put it in blue and use it. Islam. Oh, Justice J, the Constitution, the state constitution that you were asking about, it looks just like the charter that I showed you. It's going to look just like that.
Islam.
Except it might be in capitis diminutio minima. But we'll see. Yeah.
Point of interest, Empress. I just want to ask you, when you're doing the lien and you transfer the information into red, you still put, say for instance, you're leaning yourself and you're putting your social security number and your license and so forth. Do you transfer it? You have the red part of the document, and then when you're transferring that kind of information, is it black and then you do it in blue?
It's in black.
It's in black.
Yes.
Is it
and then when you put it now, if you're saying that you're putting you're originating things for your state, and you want to say, like, say for example, if I had a driver's license, which I don't, but if I had one, and I wanted to put it under the Empire State, then I would put it in red and all lowercase letters first on my fiduciary document, and then in blue on the fiduciary document.
Okay, no, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about putting a lien. So you got the UCC1 statement.
Yeah,
right,
in the lien it's in black.
In the lien it's black, and it doesn't need to be put into blue because blue being commerce. No. Okay, I yield. Thank you.
No, they only did commerce with those instruments as a dead instrument. It never was a living subject, because they don't have subjects. Blue is for living subjects.
Yeah, the reason I'm asking you that is because you said that when I was on the webinar, you were saying that after you put it in red, then you can put it back in blue or use it in black. So I was wondering.
So we're talking about something that's already been liened. Okay. We lien it and do a court action on the dead instrument, and then we create the new living instrument, and we put that in red and then in blue.
Right,
so
that's what I'm saying.
What you put in the lien, what you're leaning is something that was created by the dead United States Corporation Company. What you're using on your fiduciary document is something you created that is living and it's subject to you. So that's why the change in the colors and why the lien is done differently from any other document. The lien is saying that the United States Corporation Company, that their dead instrument is dead, and that it is a debtor instrument, and that debtor instrument is not something that we're using.
Okay, so the data instrument, when you list them out, yeah, because when you say, for instance, you write out their document, yeah, and then you transcribe that into your document, yeah, you have to put your document in red with your flags and so forth. Do you still put the lead when you're writing up your national insurance number and things like that, do you still keep that in black? Or do you put that in red?
No, not in my documents, I don't. It's in blue because, again, they were just doing commerce, admiralty commerce, the law of the sea. Not lost at sea, but the law of the sea. Okay? That's the difference between their black ink and our blue ink. Their black ink says lost at sea. Our blue ink says no, on the high seas doing admiralty and commerce and maritime law.
Yeah, because in my thinking, I'm saying you have to be able to communicate with them. So once you've captured the instruments, the debt instruments, then it should be in a different color on your.
You're not really capturing it. You're not really capturing it.
No.
You're not really capturing. No, you're not capturing it. So here's what you're doing. Let me explain to you what you're doing. And this concept is very key. We're not capturing a straw man because you can't capture it because that's not our creation. It was created by corpses. Anything that comes, what starts in fraud stays in fraud. Okay. What starts in fraud, and that is a commercial maxim. If you look up the maxims of law and commerce, you'll see that there. It says that which starts in fraud stays in fraud. That which starts in truth stays in truth. And that is the concept and the precept and the law that we're living out, that we're exhibiting and that we're demonstrating. So theirs started in fraud because they created it. So we have to lien it. We do a court action, and the court action terminates. Okay, as well as the termination of all corporate contracts. So we're terminating anything dead. And then we create our living one, and the living one looks similar, just like we might look like black people, but we're not black people. Okay, it might look like something they did, but it's not something they did. It's something we did. And we could even do it in black ink. But remember, nobility, that the bracket is what differentiates their dead instrument from our living instrument, no matter what color the ink is. Okay?
Yeah,
so if you want to communicate with them, you can communicate with them in black ink, but you have to lean everything first, or they're not going to hear you. They're gonna deal with you like they deal with corpses and citizens.
Because what I've done, I'm gonna put their document. I was told to put their lien document filled up and attach our document to it. So because their document is in black and everything's in black, and now to do our lien, I'm just putting all that information using our flags onto our lien, onto my lien, and then I was wondering, do I still put the debt instruments that I'm now making law to say that I've got control of that? No?
You're not making debt law. Debt cannot be the law. That's the problem with all that's been going on, is there's been a lot of debt going around, and the creditors were not speaking. Okay? So you're not making any debt instruments the law. You're not doing that. And I'm not sure who told you to fill out their form.
No, they said to fill it out. The consulate over here, they said to fill it out and attach it to our document. Well, it was a webinar over here from the consulate.
Okay. So here's my suggestion, because we talked about that in the past, and I'm not sure who was doing the class, and, you know, we want to honor them. I would never fill out. Okay. Huh? Say again?
They said that's how they leaned. They done their liens, and nobody
Okay.
turned up at court.
So did their lien work for them?
Yeah, the judge, the courtroom was empty when they turned up at court after they done the liens. So what they said is to transfer their document, like you fill up their document and you attach your document to it. When you
I would not suggest that. I would not suggest that. But
Okay.
again, if that works for them, then that works for them.
Mm-hmm.
The issue has been, number one, we speak by affidavit. If you look up the maxims of law and commerce, it will say an unrebutted affidavit stands as law, not an unrebutted form. Okay, and in reality, courts don't even really recognize forms.
Mm-hmm.
They really don't, because if they did, nobody would be in jail.
Okay, so what you're saying, it's not necessary to do that. It's just do it how we would do it with the affidavit, and that's it.
That has worked for me, and that's actually law based. Because see, our affidavits are court actions. We should not be speaking unless we're speaking, number one, by affidavit, and number two, from our court.
Uh-huh.
We should not be putting things out there, and this is the law. The law, everything that they do is they were doing things that they were taking as the law, and they would put a little penalty for perjury statement at the bottom, and then throw people in jail for lying on those forms. But the people were not lying. They were pretending to be something they're not. By filling out the form, you're saying that you're under their authority. By filling out the form. Because just think about it, nobility. What does the form have on it? It says name. Do you have a name?
No, we got appellation.
It says address.
No, we got
See, those are tools that you use. Those are tools that you use. Names and addresses. You use them, but they have to be stated properly. And a form that's presented by a stateless court, they're not even court. They're stateless. That's why we had to declare statehood, because they're stateless. So we speak by we speak by affidavit. Now I'm not bashing anybody else's way of doing things, but I know what the law says. And I know what the law says is that we speak by affidavit because an unrebutted affidavit stands as law. We're the law. We're the government. And forms of government, that's not a form. Those forms are done by corporations. That's why they're all printed in black, and they have capital letters everywhere.
Okay.
They're done by corporations, and when you fill them out, you're saying you're a corp, just like them.
So, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
To add to this like conversation about the forms, it's also a promissory note. When you fill up those forms, it's a promissory note you're creating for them to do commerce. Because they can't do
yes, it's a bond. They give it a number.
It's a promissory note.
And they trade it on the stock market.
Yeah, that's what it is. So you don't fill up form because it's a promissory note that you're just creating every time you fill a form up, even for work. That's the only way.
Yes.
That's how they do commerce.
You know what they
create and stuff. Exactly.
Okay, you're right.
Thank you, nobility. So, Empress, when you do a court action, do you put the all rise and stand part in there? Is that?
Yes.
That's what starts off the lien.
Yes.
It is, okay. Because I'm asking these questions because, you know, when you get different versions, you know, and you don't know which one is correct, you know. So, because of that, that's why I'm asking the question.
commerce was taught different. So
Yeah.
the commerce is different, you know. So the commerce is trying to trick us by forms. Forms is actually.
I apologize. My phone it booted. Can you start again, Nobility? Whatever you were asking or saying or stating?
Yeah, the noble was saying about the forms. He's saying that it's commerce.
Yeah.
So I get that.
Oh, yeah.
So to do my liens, then it's like I have to learn a whole new process then, because what I did was transfer the information that my form looked like their form without the boxes. So the information that they had on there is the same information I had on my liens. If you see what I mean. I've kind of mirrored.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, I've mirrored what they've done. So what you're saying is.
So what was the result? What was the result?
Well, I was waiting to have this conversation with you before I put it forward. I was waiting to have a conversation with you.
Yeah.
To find out. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to know what, the question is, what do they do with those forms after you fill them out? What do they do with them? Even the electronic ones, what do they do with them? That's the question.
Well, I just want to lead them. I don't care what. I just want to lead. I don't really care what they want to do with the form. I just want to lead them. That's it.
Okay, I get that, Bill. I get that. I get it. I get that, but we cannot, and this is important, and you know this already. I'm just going to affirm what you already know about doing things out of emotion. Yeah, we can't do things out of emotion.
Well,
and
I'll
tell you this, I knew that about you from hearing you speak before, that you just want to get them, and I get that. I get it. I get it. But we have to set that aside and actually think it through and speak. And that's why I always suggest that Moors clear their energy before they do any documents or anything. Clear your energy first so that you think clearly. Yeah.
Because I just wanted to sort out the controversy, because when you're getting somebody say something from one side, and then you're not too sure because I'm not too sure because I haven't done it before. Sometimes the information can get misconstrued, and you might end up think that you've done a lien and you haven't done a lien. So I just wanted to get that straight. The process of what I need to do. So I do the court action, and then I just put the information about what I'm leaning on my document, and that's it. That's the lien. With my appellation
yeah,
go ahead.
Well, the energy that is that comes with a lien. Here's the thing: people who sometimes people will say, "Well, you don't even know. There's no place you can look and see that the lien works." But you can. You can. We just showed what proves that a record is an official record. We just showed that. Okay? So anyone saying that putting an affidavit on the public record is not an official record doesn't know. They just don't know. They just don't know. And they think that they have to go and fill out a form and put it into a form system. Those things are not real. And the people who do them, okay, that system can come back and delete like it's been doing. Because, see, I'll tell you this. If the system works, Why didn't it work all these years? All these years, people have been doing liens in that system. I know more specifically who did liens in that system. The lien worked for 5 minutes, and it even made the news. And they were saying, oh, this, you know, they're saying they're indigenous and they lien these things, you know, and now the owners, quote unquote, are looking to see because there's liens on the, you know, the deeds of their homes. And then as soon as it got off the news, they just whack, delete, wiped all of that away, and none of it meant anything. And then if you did it, because see, those forms indicate statelessness. Mm-hmm. They can come back, and any other forms that you put in that state system mm-hmm. for assistance or anything like that. Let's just say you were getting retirement or you were getting disability or something, and you do a lien form and you lien somebody in that system. That same system can come back, and if they dispute your lien, they can stop all of that, any resources from coming in. Mm-hmm. Because you're in a dead system. That's a dead system. It's not for the sovereigns whose word is final. See, when we do it by affidavit and we put it on a public record, it's an official record. And this is the part that people don't see. They don't see the international system that looks at the public record and sees our documents on the public record and says, okay, they lien the United States Corporation Company, everybody shut down. We're going to call it COVID, but shut everything down and let's just hear what they have to say. And as they start to speak to things and bring life to things, we'll let those things continue. And if they don't speak life, it dies. Mm-hmm. Okay?
I hear you.
So, you know, and that's only something that the spirit realm can show you. And again, the things we're doing is not just the spirit realm. We have it right here. We have proof right here that, you know.
Islam?
The spirit realm.
And then when we look in the law, it matches.
Okay. Have a good evening, Empress.
Islam.
I yield.
Yes, Islam nobility.
Islam. Even with the liens and stuff inside your corporate system, it's just another way for them to do more commerce. Every time you create a lien in their corporate system, you created more commerce for them. So if you're trying to destroy their commerce and you created more commerce, you just keep on giving your life. So why are you giving your life? So it's just
that makes so much sense.
It's simplicity.
Yeah, man.
This system has a ugly feedback loop.
It's
a feedback loop. And they're just going in circles, ad infinitum, in circles.
They call themselves merchants, right? But they're missionaries. Merchants and missionaries are the same.
Yes.
So when they came to the land as missionaries, and then they created themselves as merchants after their
debtors.
Right? They were all debtors.
Debtors, one and all. Mercenaries, debtors. Yes, yep. One and all. and just like you said, you can't pay a debt with debt, and you can't stop a debt with debt.
Nope.
And their forms are debt forms.
Yeah, I get a good lesson tonight. Many thanks, Empress, and nobility.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have a good evening.
Nobility, thank you so much for all you're doing. Thank you so much I'm so glad that you're bold enough to demonstrate and then just talk about it and demonstrate some more and talk about it, because that's how we overstand everything. That's how we govern. That's government. That's government.
Okay.
With that being said,
Islam.
Yeah. Islam. Peace and grand rising, nobility.
Islam. Very good. Bless you.
Yeah.
And we will disconnect in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Islam.
Empress. Can you hear me?